everyone. I was jamming to the music, okay? One of my favorite songs. All right, everyone, welcome to the channel Wisdom Circle. Today is Wednesday, okay? Um, First of all, we're going to jump right into it. For those of you, listen, you guys are going to get gut punched today. I already know it from the cosmic collective consciousness, not from me. It just comes through me, okay? So today, we're going to be talking about, and this is for those of you who are repeating patterns of disharmony and chaos in your life, whether you know it or not, okay? And we need to talk about that. Okay, we need to talk about that. So the cosmic collective consciousness is coming through very, very strongly today with a message about patterns. Okay, you are repeating patterns in your life, and some people repeat patterns in their life and they're not sure that why. And so they're aware of the patterns, they're not sure why. Some people are repeating patterns and are not even aware they're repeating a pattern. How many times have you seen someone, because we are very observant of other people, but not of ourselves, right? How many times have you have noticed other people who come to you with their problems and stuff like that, and you notice the pattern? You can see the pattern, but they can't see the pattern. How many times has that happened? So is that you? Are you the person on the other end of that where someone else can see your patterns, but you can't see them yourself? A lack of being able to see your patterns is a disconnection from self. That means you lack self awareness. That means you lack awareness in your life. So if what causes that lack of awareness in life, I told you guys getting gut punched today by the cosmic collective consciousness. You know I'm speaking to you. Okay. If you are if you are feeling that and noticing that, right, or not noticing that, rather, we're talking about people who are not noticing it first. If you are not noticing your patterns, but other people are, and they may not, because sometimes you'll notice someone's patterns but you won't say anything to them because they're not ready to hear it. So it's important for you to look at yourself, because people aren't always going to tell you, like, this is why this is happening, because I can clearly see it. I don't know why you can't see it. But if you this is why you have to go within, you have to look within, and you have to be connected to self, because self-awareness is key to focusing on not focusing on self-awareness is key to being able to live a purposeful, happy, dramaless, less chaos, less suffering human experience. Okay, because awareness, it all begins with awareness. If you are not aware of the things that are going on inside of you, you are not aware of the things that you are projecting, especially the energy that you're putting out, then you're going to blame everything over here. You're going to blame everything on everyone else, on all circumstances outside of yourself. The blame will always go out here and never here if you're not self-aware. So we're gonna deal with you guys later. We're gonna talk now about the people who are aware that there are patterns repeating in your life. And I'm talking, again, patterns of chaos and disharmony. So patterns, financial patterns. Okay, there's all kinds of patterns: financial patterns, relationship patterns, both romantic and otherwise, right? Family relationships, friendships. Okay, are you a person who continuously gets betrayed? Right? Betrayal is another pattern. Are you a person who continuously experiences that? There's a reason why. There's a reason why. We're going to talk about that today, and we're going to dive into what you need to be doing about it as well to avoid these patterns from continuing to repeat, because patterns will repeat in your life until you learn the lesson. And that is one reason why I always say, and the book of Rashida states, that suffering is a choice. Because if you listen, and the only way to avoid suffering, for the most part, you're not going to avoid it completely, but we'll say limit suffering. The only way to limit suffering is to listen, listening to your higher self, paying attention to what's going on. Listen to the signs. Okay, they're everywhere. The signs are everywhere, and you're not listening, right? That pattern that keeps repeating is sending you a message. What energy are you putting out? Are you being stubborn? Because here's the thing: there are, what they're giving me is three different categories of reasons, and there may be more or subcategories underneath these, but patterns tend to repeat because you're being too stubborn, and we'll talk about that. Also because you are not listening, okay, not self-aware, disconnected, and uh because you don't see what's happening, because you don't see what's happening, and that is also leading you to that disconnection. So these are why the patterns are appearing in your life. Now, I don't care, I want to say this clearly, it doesn't matter where the pattern came from. At the end of the day, you still have a choice. You have a choice to learn the lesson and stop a pattern all the time. So again, we're not blaming things outside of ourselves. I don't care where the pattern began. The pattern could have been ancestral. The pattern could have been in a past life. The pattern could have been just in this life. You are living your life. It doesn't matter what's in your DNA. It doesn't matter what is in your soul journey, right? You have the opportunity in this life to stop the pattern. Okay, so because I already know some people are gonna be like, well, what if it's past life? I can't do anything about that. Yes, you can. Okay, I don't want to hear anything about what you can't do. Okay, listen, message. I don't want to hear anything about what you can't do. I'm telling you what you can do. And what you can do is stop the patterns from repeating. So and how does this framework work in terms of the different categories? Like I said, relationships, financial. You can have patterns of betrayal. You can have patterns of different things of wellness disruption patterns, or as well. Someone who gets sick a lot. Okay, if you're always sick, and every time there's a virus, you're the one who catches it. Okay, yes, there are biological reasons why you caught a virus. Okay, but if every time something happens and it's you, okay, then you are the problem. There is something going on with you, that is a pattern of of disharmony that you are generating. And it's important to understand that. So for those of you, I want to hear in the comments, for those of you who recognize, who know that you are exhibiting certain patterns in your life. And this pattern could be coming back every couple of years. It could be like, oh, I thought I got over that, but then here it comes again. Here it comes again. I keep attracting these people in my life, right? If you are exhibiting a pattern like that, then the task is for you to shift the pattern, because these are patterns of disharmony and chaos. We don't want that. Unless you want disharmony and chaos, then you're on the wrong live, because that's not what we're about. So if you don't want disharmony and chaos, then it behooves you to remove the pattern and fix the pattern. And if the pattern is your energy of what you are putting out, you need to ask yourself, what about me is attracting these type of people? Okay, so someone said, Raven's daughter says, been married to narcissists, lessons learned. Yes, yes. But there's something within you at the time, hopefully not anymore, but you said lesson learned. So there is something within you, and hopefully you figured that out, that was attracting those type of people. Narcissists are predators, okay? They get attracted to people that they feel they can prey on. So there's something, an insecurity within you or something, and that's not your fault, but it's important to recognize those things and work on them. So if you had that insecurity, could do, like I said, we're not, it doesn't matter what the reason is. The reason does matter in order to fix it, but in terms of the reality that you are putting that out, there's many reasons why someone could be attracting narcissists, and it's usually some type of insecurity within that's exuding in their aura, and that's what the narcissist is picking up on, as someone that they can easily control and do things like that. So, but what's the reason, right? Once you find out, okay, yes, I recognize I have some insecurities, curl out of place. All right, I recognize I have some insecurities, and and I know that that's due to a mother wound, or I know that that's due to uh, some bad relationships in the past that I've gone through, and now I just have a bad expectation, or I was abused as a child, or there's a whole lot of things. There's a lot of things. But so if you are still putting out that energy, the question is, have you dealt with those things? And I talk all the time. A lot of times it's childhood trauma. Like, we can go through trauma as adults, but childhood trauma affects us way more than trauma as an adult affects us. Know that all the time. So a lot of times, go back to your childhood. And usually when I heal people, I have an ability to be able to tap in to someone and get immediately right to the root of their problems, like within a second. I immediately see the root. And a lot of times it's in the childhood, and it could be something super simple. So when you're looking for things in your childhood that you need to heal from, don't always look at the big things, because sometimes it's the tiny little things that created this big snowball effect. Sometimes it's your mother yelled at you in front of your friends and that made you feel a certain way. And there's, like, as an adult, I call these micro traumas, because as an adult we look back and we're like, who cares, like that's no big deal, because as an adult you can handle that. But as a child, you don't realize how that really affected you. And a child, with a child's mind and a child's brain, you're affected more easily, and you're more easily traumatized as well. So don't minimize. That's also a message. Do not minimize the micro traumas that you went through in childhood, because those micro traumas show up in ugly ways as big things in your life. So as you are diving into things and seeing what those things are, then once you find out what it is, then you can deal with it. It's important not to put band-aids on things, because, like, for the example of narcissism, attracting narcissists, if there is some type of insecurity going on inside of you for whatever reason happened in childhood, and you figure out what that is, um, it doesn't help to just give yourself affirmations that I am great, because that's a band-aid on top of the real problem, which is the trauma that is still exists within you. It's in your energy system. Our trauma lives within our energy system. So in order to, if that energy is what's causing the problem, which it is, then the energy itself has to be removed. We can't just put band-aids on top of it. And this is why a lot of people uh, tell me, like, oh yeah, I've been doing this affirmation for 10 years. And I've gotten a little better, but I'm still having the problem. Well, because the affirmation's not enough. Okay. Affirmations are great, but they are not enough. You need to get rid of the energy. You need to get in there, and you have the ability to tap into your own energy and release it. Okay, I have plenty of free meditations on YouTube, in the Mystic Temple channel on YouTube for that. So you can go in there and do that. If you're in Mystic University, I have a whole entire library of meditations that you guys have access to, that help you. They're energy meditations. They help you actually release and move, and they put you into a nice deep trance. Very, very powerful. So if you need help doing that, go to those meditations. That is a great resource. Guys, I give you lots and lots of resources. Okay. Lots of resources for free, lots of resources in Mystic University, lots of resources everywhere. In Mystic Temple, we got you. Okay. So you have the ability to change the things that are going on inside of you. And when you get to the root of that, then you can change the energy, because if these patterns keep repeating, they're coming from energy. Why can someone attract a narcissist? And sorry, I keep using your example, but it was a perfect example. Why can someone attract a narcissist? It's not that you're saying, hey, narcissist, come over here. It's energy. And what is person understand your insecurities, your life, your thoughts, your decisions, your likes, your dislikes, all of that is in your aura. All of that is sitting in your aura, in your biofield. As humans, we naturally pick up on other people's biofields. So when a narcissist is at some place and he's attracted to someone, they may not know why they're attracted to that person, but they're attracted to that person because their biofield is reading that person's biofield. They're looking for a person they can take advantage of. Therefore, that is attractive to them. Okay. So that's how things work. So understanding how the energy you put out attracts people. Same thing with friendships. If you keep getting friends that betray you and things like that, there is something you are giving off. If a pattern is repeating, if someone betrays you once, that's on them, right? If people keep betraying you, that's on you. There's something going on with your energy field. There's something going on within you. It could even be a personality trait. It could be, but at the end of the day, it's all energy. And so you have to find the root of your traumas and uproot them. So I'm gonna scroll up here because I know I missed a couple of things someone said. So Red Monroe said, hey, Red Monroe said, repeated patterns which attract low vibrational energy, codependency, and illness. Yes, yes, absolutely. And I see you, Iman. That's a message right there. Okay. She does. Okay. And then another person said, I have trust issues. And I think, okay, that was the same person with the narcissist. I have trust issues, and I think they actually started because of my sister. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm glad that you are aware of that. And so if you know that those trust issues started because of your sister and whatever your sister did, it's time to undo that. So a shamanic journey would be great for you to do that. And I do have a free shamanic journey on Mystic Temple's. There's on Mystic Temple, for those of you who are on YouTube, those of you who aren't on YouTube, just go to the Mystic Temple YouTube page, Mystic Temple 1111. And if you go to the playlist, there's a playlist of all of my meditations and shamanic journeys that I've done publicly, that for free, and you can go on there. There's definitely one that will help you with that, but a shamanic journey would be perfect for that you're because it's something in your past and it's a situation. And so I would actually do a shamanic journey to go back and meet that moment again, understand it better, because a lot of times uh, we internalize things, and that's really what causes trauma. It's the internalization of what's happening, and being able to heal through that, being able to heal that past version of yourself, and then being able to release that energy and then carry that forward. And then what you would need to do is also do some work on yourself after you release the energy. You need to do some work on yourself to build up that trust again, to remind yourself that, first of all, you can trust. You don't have to. I want to be clear on trust, because that's something that a lot of people have. And I know a lot of um, people who just don't like people because they don't feel like they can trust people, and they stay away from people because they don't feel like they can trust people. I want you to understand that a lack of trust of other people is rooted in fear. Okay. And yeah, some people can't be trusted, but at the end of the day, can you be trusted? That's all that matters. That's all that matters. Message, that's all that matters. Can you be trusted? Do you trust yourself? Because you're not going to control everyone. You're not going to control everyone's intentions. You're not going to control everyone's thoughts and opinions and actions, right? That if you try to do that, you're going to drive yourself crazy. But what you can control is you. What you can control is your reaction to situations. If you trust yourself, and that's why fear is always rooted in a lack of self trust. If you trust yourself, then you don't have to trust everybody. It doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, first of all, you trust yourself to listen. You need to trust yourself to listen to yourself, to your higher self. You also need, because your higher self will always warn you. It will always warn you. I'm sure in every narcissist situation, your spirit told you, I don't know about this one. I am positive, because your spirit will always warn you if you're listening. And that spirit can warn you in just your thoughts and ideas. It could feel like an intuitive download. It depends on what your gifts are and stuff, but you get it. Somehow you get the message. But if you are not aware, then you're not going to get the message, or you're going to get it and ignore the message and think that it's just a fleeting thought. Right? Always follow your intuition. Always follow your spirit. But in order to make sure that you continue to build that ability to be around people without feeling like you like you can't trust them, because again, all you have to do is trust yourself. Trust your ability to listen. Trust your ability to maneuver through a situation, because that's all that matters. If your spirit does not tell you not to go down that road, then there's a reason why you should be going down that road, even if it ends in pain. It's because of who you became at the end of that. It's a lesson. Okay. And everything in life is an experience. So if you start looking at life as an experience versus it has to have this outcome, this person has to be this, remove your expectations of other people. That doesn't mean have low expectations of other people. That just means remove your expectations. Let let things flow and be as they are, but trust yourself to make sure that you're still steering the ship and driving your experience, because you don't have to be around this person if they're negative. You don't have to be around that person if they're showing you signs that they're not a good person to be around. But you don't have to assume that everyone is that way either. And I know a lot of people need to hear that message today, because I know that's a big issue. You're definitely not alone. That is a big issue that a lot of people have with being able to trust other people. And that is really from your past experiences that you've had. And apparently you've had some issues of mistrust with your sister. But know that everyone's not your sister. And again, everything is about trusting yourself at the end of the day. Everything. And so there's definitely some inner work that needs to be done. If you still feel like you have those trust issues, definitely do a shamanic journey. You can get rid of that. Let me tell you something. You get rid of that trauma and that energy in one sitting. Okay. It doesn't have to be a journey. It doesn't. Get rid of it in one sitting and then start building it up. You build it up, like I said, through the understanding of reality and of trusting and making sure that you're trusting yourself. And then I'm positive there's also a meditation for self-trust in there as well. So yes, all the things. All right. And so essentially guy says focus on becoming. Yes, yes. All right. So let's talk about financial yes, they want to talk about the financial patterns, okay? Because a lot of people repeat financial patterns where you'll be doing really well for a while, and patterns could be different. I'm just giving you an example. You'll be doing really well for a while, and then always, as soon as something is about to happen, something falls away, right? Or you keep finding yourself you keep finding yourself in this particular situation financially. This keeps happening. A lot of times that is due to one of two things. Either you're making bad choices. Okay, choices dictate your reality, choices dictate your future. You're making bad choices. Those bad choices are from a disconnect with self, okay? And more of a connection with ego versus self, because bad money choices oftentimes are coming from ego, instant gratification. Uh, there could be a lot of different things, but that's definitely a big one: instant gratification. And knowing that I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm doing that. Not having good money habits, making bad choices, moving from emotion versus logic when it comes to that, and also versus your spirit, because your spirit will always guide you with what you need to be doing and what you shouldn't be doing. And also, the other thing, besides bad choices in money decisions, is a bad money mindset. Okay, which also leads to you making bad choices. So you need to, if you're having repeated patterns regarding money in your life, you need to look at that. What is my relationship with money? How do I feel about money intellectually, logically? How do I feel in here? When I think of $1 million, me having $1 million, what does that feel like in here? When I think of me having $1, what does that feel like in here? All of those things will tell you what's really going on with your reaction and your relationship with money. And some of those things stem from childhood. Again, some of those things may stem from past lives, and some things may stem from ancestral patterns that are repeating themselves. But once you figure out what it is, then you remove it. And the removal part doesn't take long. I will repeat that. The removal part does not take long. Okay, so Raven's daughter Tara says, yes, yes, that's what I learned. It comes down to trusting myself. Absolutely. Good, good. I'm so glad you learned that. I'm so glad you learned that. See, you are on your way. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Yes, and receiving capacity, like Alita just said, receiving capacity. So that's part of the money mindset. And the money mindset is not just conscious. Money mindset oftentimes is subconscious. So if you are having repeated patterns of losing money, there is something going on with you being able to hold money and keep it and receive it. And we talked about that in a live the other day about being able to receive, being comfortable with receiving, and that's a self-worth issue. And some of those self-worths could come from your parents. You may have watched your parents handle money poorly. And so because they handled money poorly and because they always had money problems, now you hoard money. Now you hold on to money. Now you're afraid to spend it. A money that's also a money mindset issue. Okay, because money it should be a flow, but that doesn't mean that you should be keeping you should be keeping a lot of it. But hoarding it puts a different kind of energy towards it. That creates a desperation creates friction, and friction creates resistance. Okay, so when you have that, you're actually bringing less money in because you're hoarding it, because of that resistance. Okay, so hold on. Okay, that's where I am financial. Okay, sorry, where am I? Okay, that's where I am. Financial shortcomings due to fear and allowing stagnation of fear of growth out of my comfort zone. Yes, yes. So again, I'm glad you guys are recognizing this in yourselves. And this message today is it's time to deal with that. It's time to deal with that. If you if you've seen your parents, I'll give examples because a lot of bad money mindsets do come from parents and our experiences. And so if you grew up with no money, sometimes you'll spend it even more because you want what you didn't have as a child, right? And then you go for that instant gratification. You're always looking to spend, spend, spend instead of hoarding and saving. Not hoarding, but saving instead of just allowing it to sit and be until you need it, right? So a lot of people do that. If you grew up with a lot of money, you may feel like money, and you may have seen a lot of people who have money who are not good people and stuff like that. And so that money mindset makes you reject money energetically and subconsciously because you don't want to be that kind of person and you tie money to that. So again, these are things that can create patterns in your life. And so it's important for you to know what your issues are, understand what it is that, like, really dissect it. Ask yourself some questions, really dissect it, and then always go why, why to every answer. Don't just stop there. Why, to dive deeper into it. That's how you eventually get to the root. That's how you eventually get to the root of the problem. You have to keep asking the question why. After each thing you answer, this question, answer the question, okay, why is that? Where did that come from? Where did that come from? Where did that come from? And start diving deep. And again, the energy itself to release that is easy. And then there's the building up after you release. You have to build up, you have to balance, you have to correct after the releasing. So now you need to build within your mind a better mindset. What is a better mindset? A healthy mindset with money. Money, money itself is an exchange. It is a thing that humans made up. Okay, abundance is an exchange. It is it doesn't it isn't tied to anything. It's not actually tied to anything. All it is what it is. Okay, that's a healthy money mindset. Money is just money. It's an exchange, and it does, more money does bring you more freedom in certain ways, and it doesn't lead to anything else. It doesn't have to lead to anything else. And so if you don't want to be a bad person, for instance, because this is a big one, the people that see, like, they see billionaires doing horrible things, they see all these things happening, and they think that money, you can't have money and be a good person. And that's incorrect. That's completely incorrect. But our observations sometimes tell us otherwise, right? So if you are a person who feels that way, it's important that you back that up because what you're doing is rejecting money. But understanding that also relates back to self-trust, understanding that you can trust yourself not to become that person. Do you trust yourself not to become that person if you have all of that money? Because a lot of people actually energetically hold themselves back from success because they don't want to become that type of person. And I've even had people say that to me and not even realize what they're saying, like not realize the depths of what they're saying, but they just say it, on the fly, like, I don't want to be that because I don't want to be that person. I'm like, do you realize what you're saying here? Do you realize what you're doing? You're actually blocking your blessings, because abundance is available to you always. Abundance is always available to you. It's whether or not you're experiencing it is whether or not you're blocking it. Period. That block is usually coming from you, coming from your mindset. And how does your mindset block your wealth and block your blessings in general? Because remember what I said, your thoughts, your mindset, whether it is conscious or subconscious, is hanging out in your aura. Okay? And your aura, your biofield, then attracts those things to you. It then gives you what you want. You said you didn't want to have any money. Well, guess what? You don't. Okay. And every time you're about to get something happens, and it falls through, or something comes through to take it away from you, because at the end of the day, you didn't want it. Message, let that marinate. At the end of the day, you didn't want it. That's why it's not there. So you need to allow it. Okay, I'm going to read a comment here. The Abundance for Beginners course in Mystic University. Oh, yes, yes. Opened a whole new awakening for me last year. Can you put that up on the screen? I've been shifting everything since. Nice, nice. I love that. I love that. Yes, I told you guys, Mystic University, we don't play around. And by the way, so at Mystic University, let me just tell you real quick, the things I teach, most of the things I teach, you are not going to find on Google. you are not going to find in a book, and you're not going to find in AI, because it's on a whole nother level. I'm just letting you guys know that right now. I'm just letting you know because that's just a fact. And all of my students will tell you that it's on another level. So there is nothing that compares. That's why we are the #1 metaphysical school in the world. And it's really a community, not just a school, because everyone is very, see, we have students right there talking about it. Okay. So there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it that exists. So just so you know, don't even try to compare it to anything, because nothing like it exists. And the level of knowledge that I provide is not available anywhere else. So anyway, get it. Go and join Mystic University, get the all access pass, have access to everything. I have over 150 courses already that are on demand, that you can, courses and experiences that you can partake in. And then I teach an extra 5 live classes every single month. And actually tonight we have the Pathways to Divine Consciousness and Fulfillment program, which I've been telling you guys about. You definitely want to join that. If you join Mystic University and you get the all access pass, you automatically get this, but you can also sign up to this program by itself as well. And all proceeds go as a donation to Mystic Temple, so we can keep doing what we do here. Okay. All right. So that's tonight. So I'll see you guys tonight in class. All right. So back to the the channeling and the message. That was just a little break. Um, let's talk about wellness disruptions. Disruptions to your wellness, there includes sickness, but it also includes uh, literal, like, depression. That's a disruption in your wellness. Anxiety, which we talked about yesterday, that's a disruption in your wellness. Um, Anger, that's a disruption in your wellness. So these are also patterns that can repeat in your life. And if you are allowing them to repeat in your life, then they're going to keep repeating until you fix the pattern, until you deal with the issue. Those patterns are there to show you the issue. Okay, if you have a pattern of anxiety, deal with it. Okay, get to the root of it, deal with it. We talked about that yesterday. Go back to yesterday's live to hear more about that. If you have a pattern of depression, and by the way, a pattern is you keep coming back to the same thing, right? Keep coming back to the same thing. So if you have depression, period, you need to deal with it. But it definitely, if you have depression and then you're fine and then it comes back, you have not dealt with the root. Because sadness and depression are two different things. There's also a live we did on depression as well. So go back to that. That was a couple weeks ago. But depression depression and sadness are two different things. Sadness is surface level. That's usually reactionary to something that's going on. Depression is deeper. That's on the soul level. That's coming from the soul. Your soul is unhappy about something, and it's usually because you're on the wrong path. You're not dealing with what you're supposed to deal with. Depression can also deal with come from trauma and things like that as well. So you have to get to the root. We already talked about how to do that, right? Get to the root, and then move forward, and then start to fix the problem, and then it won't come back. I told you guys yesterday, I used to have an anxiety disorder and a depression disorder back when I was having all my health issues, when I was paralyzed and everything 20 years ago. Okay, I fixed it and I haven't had it ever since. It didn't become a pattern because I fixed it. Okay. I fixed it, and it was rooted in trauma and stuff like that that I didn't know that I needed to deal with. Okay, and that told me I needed to deal with it, and so I dealt with it. So this is the part of introspection. This is the part of self-awareness. And this is why self-awareness is so important, because whatever patterns are repeating in your life, know that you have the ability, and again, it doesn't matter where it came from, you have the ability to change that, to disrupt that pattern, to stop that pattern, and create a new pattern. Create a pattern of abundance. Create a pattern of love in your life. Create a pattern of of uh, of friendship in your life. Create a pattern of community in your life. Create a pattern of intelligence in your life. Create whatever pattern you want to create in your life. But just like we can have negative patterns, we can also create positive patterns and allow those patterns to continue. Allow them to continue. But you have to be intentional about that. And you also have to be aware of what's going on inside of you. That doesn't mean that you have to sit there all day, what's happening inside of me all day. If you just tune in once a day, you'll know what's going on. And if you also stay tuned in constantly, because once you really start doing this work, that tuning in will remain. Like, I never really have to tune into myself, like, really, because I'm always in tune. if you know what I mean. So that tuning in, it's like a tune on a frequency, and I'm just there. So eventually, after you, yes, meditate to elevate. I like that. As you meditate more, and that's one thing I've always told you guys, that meditation is the key for almost everything. If I could tell you to only do one thing in your life, if you only had the opportunity or chance to do one thing that would change your life, it's meditation, because of the things that meditation does for you. It improves your focus, it improves your awareness, it opens up your channel to receive from your spirit, from your guiding forces. It opens you up, and so much more happens when you do that. So meditation is key. So make sure you're doing that. Pattern of intelligence. Yes, yes. Yes. So whatever patterns, I want you to think right now what patterns you are exhibiting and what patterns you want to replace them with. Replace them with a positive pattern. And then this is a 3-part homework, okay? So I want you to think of what patterns you're currently exhibiting. And then I want you to figure out how to stop it, right? Find the root, get rid of it. And then I want you to say, what pattern am I replacing that with? Okay. And then outside of that, the third thing is, what patterns do I want to experience in my life outside of whatever that was? What good patterns do I want in my life? Because this isn't just about removing, this is about manifesting. This is about creation. We are creatures of creation. We can create our reality. So what do you want to create in your life? What are these patterns? And then underneath each question, the question is how? And let your spirit answer that, because you have all the answers inside. You got this. You got this. All right. So I'm done for today. We went a little longer than normal, but they had a lot to say. Okay. I hope you guys got the message. Hope you got all of that, and really encapsulate or marinate in it. Okay. Marinate in it. We like to marinate. Marinate in it. Really embody it. Okay. And allow, because knowledge without application is pointless. So all the knowledge that I share with you guys every day, all the tips and everything else that the cosmic collective consciousness is feeding through me, make sure that whatever resonates with you, you take it and do something with it. Don't just watch these and listen and then go about your day and forget about it. I want to change your life, and I want you to change your life. Okay. I'm a catalyst. I am here as a catalyst. This is a soul contract right now. You are watching this. This is a soul contract. I'm giving you this information because you needed this information today. Now do something with it. Go change your life. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. In the divine language, I will say, peace be unto you. Zor Kunti. See you next time.